That's the start. There's the text.
Okay. And how do you?
So, once again, this Lower East Side community, East Village community, is standing in City Hall and been standing in our community because we want Charas El Bohio returned to the community.
Our building.
I think it's important to understand a little bit of history of why we've been here, because the history tells us how strong the fight has been and also why we continue fighting. So, OPS 64, that we lovingly call Charas El Bohio Cultural Community Center, was rescued by community leaders in Lower East Side. They worked hard to remove the drug dealers that were in that building, a building that was abandoned. And we have to remember, from the 1970s and the 80s, our community was abandoned. We together fought to stabilize it, to make it the place that it is.
That's right.
We knew that buildings that were burning and there was risk of residential buildings and foreclosures, but we fought to take over places, to rebuild, and to continue it. When it was recaptured, the city gave us a deed to OPS to rent the building, and we had it rented for several decades, many years. It served everyone in the community, and everyone loved it. But then, I can't say mayor, but Giuliani put Charas on auction, ripped it from the heart of Lower East Side. But people in Charas, in the community, offered at the time $1.3 million for the space. That was a lot of money back then. But Giuliani didn't care. He continued ensuring that we would not get this building. And then in 1998, for $3 million, a little bit over $3 million, a man we all dislike and many of us hate, Singer, Greg Singer, principal owner of 9th Street LLC, bid it for the building and got the building. We need to understand that he has failed to really develop anything with this building.
That's right.
Even after we landmarked it in 2006, which was a great victory, because it slowed down many other efforts from him, we still are standing here and asking the mayor, a mayor that we believe values community centers and values community, to say that our Lower East Side deserves that center back to the community. I want to introduce my co-district leader, Paulina Rivera. And let me just go back, I didn't even mention my name, because I've been so excited about this in the fight. I'm Anthony Feliciano, I'm the district leader for the 74th Assembly District Part A. And my leader is Paulina Rivera, district leader of the 74th Part A. And we want to talk a little bit more about this and bring a bunch of our speakers and our community activists on this. But I will say one thing, it doesn't stop here. We will continue coming back, and we've been coming back for over 13 years. It's about over almost close to 15, 16 years. So I'm going to introduce Paulina Rivera.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, everyone, for being here. There are a lot of groups and individuals that are here that have worked on this issue tirelessly. There are a lot of individuals and organizations that are not here today, and I hope that we can continue to honor their work and make sure that we return this building to our beloved community, the East Village and the Lower East Side. So we're asking the mayor to return our cultural center. We've seen public land and community facilities continue to be sold under value and continue to be taken away time after time. My name is Carolina Rivera, and I am a lifelong resident of the East Village and Lower East Side. And I want to say that I am worth this community center. I am worth resources from the mayor and from our city council. And I think everyone here agrees with me when we say that we demand that Charas El Bohio and the former PS64 be returned to our community. So we are worth the conversation with the mayor. We are going to ask the mayor to sit down with us and speak about our vision for the center. And the vision is clear. It has been there for years. It is a part of our history as a community. And we intend to bring that kind of collective responsibility and that kind of negotiation to the table because we deserve it. Now, there are a lot of issues with this building. It is landmarked. There are legal implications as to why there are partial leases being issued. There is also the Department of Buildings is involved, and that can also be a very, very complicated agency, as we know historically. They don't tend to always do the right thing when it comes to thinking about holistic community health. So I want to just quickly read a statement by our councilwoman, Rosie Mendez, a woman who has fought to keep this building, this landmark building, in and for the community. She cannot be here today, and so I just want to share this statement from Rosie. I truly regret that I am unable to attend this very important press conference. However, a family emergency is keeping me away. Today on Valentine's Day, I want to talk about love and love of family. Today, my community understands that I cannot be there because I am taking care of my parents. But today and every day, we are taking care of each other because love is not defined by blood relations. Love is defined about who and what you choose to love. So I love my community. I love my district. And yes, I love that building. That building represents the hopes and dreams of so many people in our community, including mine. It is the building where community residents removed drug dealers and ushered in a variety of cultural, educational, and recreational programs. It is where community activists laid the seeds and the foundation that created urban movements such as our community gardens. Many of you are behind me and in front of me and always at the movement. The movement of urban homesteading, our squatters and sweat equity, one of the city's first recycling programs, and of course providing affordable rental space for visual and performance artists as well as a community meeting space. It is where I came to meet people when I first moved into the neighborhood. It is where I came for the first meeting of the Coalition to Save Public Housing and Section 8 and the Coalition to Save Our Community Gardens. It is where I came to Lolita Lebron, and it is where I came to grieve and mourn with my neighbors after the untimely death of my dear friend and co-district leader, Armando Perez. So today, I ask the mayor to embrace our love and our home. This Valentine's Day, my community and I want nothing more than to get our building back. So powerful words from someone who has used all of her power to try and keep this building in our community. We have another fighter here, someone who is always, always there, who always shows up and knows what the right thing is to do. So I want to introduce our Manhattan Borough President, Gale Brewer.
Thank you very much. And I'm not big on Valentine's Day, but I'm big on Council Member Rosie Mendez. So thank you very much for that statement, Rosie, even though you're not here. I am Gale Brewer. I am the Manhattan Borough President, and even back to the days when Margarita Lopez was council member, I remember standing, even though I was Upper West Side, coming down to Charas to stand across the street in a protest in support of the building and the art and the community. And I've done the same with Councilmember Mendez. So it's a very special place. We have a problem here. And what's frustrating to me is not so much the issue of the community, which loves it, but that we have written not one, but 2 letters with all the elected officials. One to the head of the buildings department, when that didn't get answered on October 3rd, 2016. We wrote another letter to the mayor, January 17, 2017. Neither one has been answered. And what they both, yes, not right. Letters need to be answered, number one. And what I'm saying is, you know, developers and their lobbyists have every right to look for loopholes left and right to convert community facilities. They have every right to take from the community and make big profits for themselves, but government is supposed to stop that.
Right.
And that, it happened with Rivington House, and the Lower East Side has been great. But we need city agencies to take extra effort when it comes to properties with deed restrictions. And we expect real transparency on the mayor's office and the Department of Buildings to make sure the developers don't take advantage falsely of benefits set aside for community facility use. Now that's like a term. I don't know why a dormitory is a community facility use. And I don't know why the other part of the buildings have been sitting vacant for 18 years. The good news is it hasn't been converted to condos. The bad news is the city should make it be a real community facility and not a You know better what a real cultural and community center is. I know and you know. But the building has sat empty since 2001 when Charas was evicted. Luckily it was landmarked, and I want to thank the community for making sure it got landmarked. That saved the historic structure from demolition, God help us.
Yay!
But we need to have a real community benefit. And the proposed construction aims to use a dormitory rule to get its plans approved. But after looking at the lease, we have questions about the owner's true intent. There are discrepancies that need to be examined. We must keep the stop work order that the community got in place. And the community on the Lower East Side, as I've said over and over again, has dealt with the devastating loss of Rivington House. We do not want to lose Charas, and we don't want to set, this is also important, a dangerous precedent that community facility use are optional. Community facility means community facility. So I hope that the mayor and the Department of Buildings see these 2 letters and answer them, because all of these issues are laid out. We want community facility to mean community facility at this location. Thank you very much.
So, I was born and raised in a place on 9th Street, which is a community garden now. Actually, was a building there. And it's named after Armando Perez as well. And I admired Armando as a young person, a teenager. And I admire the person who I'm going to introduce right now. When we talked about communities being abandoned, this is one of the people in our community that said we won't do that. We will stabilize. We will ensure our community gets better and that we will have that control for our community. And so I want to introduce Chino Garcia.
It's good to be next to our younger generation of political leaders in the neighborhood, community organizers. So thank you for all of you. Thank you very much for coming. It's very important that we realize that our neighborhood at one time, not even taxis would drive through our neighborhood. They were so scared. It was a raw situation. And I'm very proud of many families and many people that stood there and survived this nightmare that we went through for a few years. Now, to be honest with you, even with that nightmare, our community was still rich in culture and many other great activities, all kinds of culture and many community ideas in development. And a lot of the development that took place in this country, in urban areas, a lot of the ideas originated out of the Lower East Side, and that was rich. And when we had the center, that particular center was a mecca for that. And we also trained, besides culture, music, and many other activities, we also had construction training, and we also had a lot of educational programs, for after school and many other programs, and English as a second language. So it's important to realize that that center was a mixed use, and we hope to redevelop it and keep it like that.
Yes.
This generation and future generations should have that facility back. All right? Believe me, if the developer himself would keep his word, whatever he signed to the deed, I personally would not get involved arguing with that. But that's not the case. And the reason it's delayed for 18 years, okay, is because he wants to make a mink out of it. And we have been saying that he wants to turn the so-called dome into a youth hospital, and that has been his goal, and believe me, we will keep on challenging unless he doesn't keep his word on the contract. As a community, we have that right because it's a community facility and the community should always speak. All right, thank you for coming today. And
So Chino mentioned that it's been nearly 2 decades that we've been fighting this, that we've been fighting to get this building back. And Gale mentioned 2 letters that we've written that have received no response. But since, there they are. One of them included a 2014 multiple-page legal brief that went into why the deal with Joffrey Ballet and Cooper Union was null and void. Issuing a partial lease does not go with the community facility use in terms of the deed restrictions. So again, we see them in discussion with the Delphi University, and it's the same thing. It's the same movie, only they're different actors. Right. So again, continuing to enter into these contracts, these negotiations, and our fear is that this is going to be with the blessing of the Department of Buildings and our mayor. And that's why we are here, along with a number of organizations who have been fighting on this issue. So I want to introduce Andrew Berman from the Greenwich Village Society of Historic Preservation. Andrew? Instead, we have Harry Bubbins. Harry Bubbins is everywhere, okay? He is at the BSA hearings, he is writing testimony, and he is fighting for our landmark buildings in our historic districts. This is a landmark building, and we have to respect that status because of this history and its architectural integrity. Harry Bubbins from GVSHP.
Thank you, everyone. On behalf of Greenwich Village Society for Historic Preservation, we're glad to be here. Also, I'm glad to observe that the mayor came by and saw all of us, and hopefully our elected officials will get that response to the letter. I'll read a brief statement. We're here to call upon Mayor de Blasio to make sure we don't have Rivington House 2.0 here. That this developer and his high-priced lobbyists who were involved in the Rivington House debacle do not get the Department of Buildings to undermine and circumvent the community facility restriction here as they have been seeking to do. And we do not get a revolving door dorm for hire. We want our landmark community center back, and we want a real community center here. This developer has had the building for almost 20 years, and he's done nothing but try to tear it down, let it decay, and try to stick illegal uses in it. If you go by there today, he can't even close the windows. Most recently, the developer had submitted a blatantly illegal lease agreement with Adelphi University with numerous campuses 50 miles away on Long Island, 50 miles away upstate, and miles away from the place on 9th and 10th Street. Just a tiny fractions of the beds in the supposed dorm will be leased by Adelphi, and the rest will be up to sale by the developer to whoever he pleased. That's not a dorm, that's not a community facility, that's a sham. Instead of outright rejecting that application and telling the developer to stop trying to get around the law, the Department of Buildings has been playing footsie with this developer, claiming they have not approved anything yet, even as they work with the developer and his high-priced lobbyists who undid the Rivington House restrictions to find a way to let him move ahead with his underhanded plan. It's time for the mayor to stand up, to say this is a sham, and to tell the Department of Buildings to reject that plan and take this building back for the community. The mayor was elected, and we want our mayor to stand up for this community, not for the developers and not for their hired gun influencers. Mayor de Blasio, we're here to ask you today, who do you stand with? Do you stand with us, or do you stand with the lobbyists? Stand with? Who do you 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 stand with?
Which side of
Who do you stand with?
So we have the luck and the strength to keep our community intact as much as possible, to keep our people living in our neighborhood, and that has not been no easy task. We know that people have been pushed out, people are still struggling in our community. Gentrification has only clouded and disguised what we still need in our community. And someone who I know is a tough and strong organizer is Susan Howard from Charas.
Hey there. Well, there have been some beautiful, impassioned speeches. Most of it's been said, but the Valentine message, be true to the Lower East Side, Mayor de Blasio. Be our Valentine. Don't let our hearts continue to be broken by allowing this building to disintegrate before our very eyes. It has been 18 years. You can do the math. It was auctioned off in June of 1998. It is February, Valentine's Day 2017, and we are still fighting for this building. We were fighting then, we are fighting now because it meant so much to our community. It was a hub where everybody could meet, where everybody could come up with an idea and have it realized there with the help of Charas, with the help of artists, with the help of organizers, with the help of our elected officials. And we stood on the steps of that building with all of our elected officials, year after year after year, asking our mayor to do the right thing, to realize this community facility belongs in the community's hands. We are asking again today. And technically, you can read the letter that has been sent to the mayor, the letter has been sent to the Department of Buildings. It's available to you. John Bosco from Rosie's office has it. Please take a look at it. It's very technical, but the bottom line is they are willing, in a lease, it's not really a lease, it's more like a license. They're saying they would take 196 beds. This is the formula for Adelphi. There's a different formula for every school that he's had sign on. They're only required to pay for 10% of those beds. The rest are licensed to Singer that he can rent out for whatever to whoever. This is a youth hostel. When we were in court with him fighting the eviction, these were the same plans that he presented then. There was no oversight by the city to show that he could meet the required use before giving it to him. We made an offer, they refused, I believe because of the Democratic stronghold that was in the Lower East Side, and we were facing Giuliani. He sold it out from under us, and we, for no conceivable reason, and the person that he sold it to has not been able to comply. How long do we have to wait until the mayor gives the building back? He cannot comply with the use restriction because he sees dollar signs in his eyes. We want the mayor to be true to the LES. Give us back our community center.
I just want to recognize a couple of more individuals that are here before I invite Carol Crump from the East Village Community Coalition. Michael Stinson is here. He is with the New York City Comptroller's Office. He is the Manhattan Borough Director. So the Comptroller sees our struggle. I also see Cooper Square Committee here. I see good old Lower East Side. I see our State Committeeman Michael Farron. Theater for the New City.
Hold on.
I see Coalition for a District Alternative. I see my gardeners, my residents. I see the Museum of Reclaimed Urban Space. Downtown Arts. I see Downtown Arts. Don't worry, Ryan's coming up. And of course, I see Green Maps. I see everybody's here. Our allies, our friends, our community-based organization. The resistance is here, okay? And we will do everything we can to get this building back. So I want to invite Carol Crump up from the East Village Community Coalition. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Carol Crump, representing the East Village Community Coalition.
It's not a mic for speaking, it's just a mic for
your recess voice.
Recess voice. Old PS 64, Charas El Bohio, currently is not doing anything for anyone. It is instead a monument to greed and neglect. We want a community center for all who live and work here. That's it. Thank you.
Our building.
Our building. Who's building? Our building. Who's building? Our building. Who's building? Our building.
Who's building?
Our building. All right, I'd like to invite one of our arts groups, arts and culture groups, Ryan, from she's the chair of 4th Arts Block and the artistic and executive director of Downtown Art. Thanks.
Happy Valentine's Day!
Happy Valentine's Day!
I'm Ryan Gillum. You just heard I'm director of Downtown Art and board chair of FAB. Although I came to the Lower East Side in 1976, I don't personally have a history with Charas, which was my loss. And so I've learned about Charas from you. And this is what you taught me. Charas El Bohio was the embodiment of Lower East Side culture. It was more than a building, more than a group of programs. If that's all Charas had been, your commitment to this struggle would have faded away long ago. But here you are. Charas was a center of indigenous culture. And when Rudy Giuliani put it on the auction block years ago, it was a deliberate and vicious blow at the cultural and political heart of Lower East Side. We are living through a time of cultural crisis. And I don't mean that artists can't find affordable space. I don't mean that artists are heading off to Berlin or London. I don't mean any of that. I mean because art is only a piece of culture. Culture is in fact much more inclusive. Culture includes language, food, how we celebrate and how we grieve. It includes community centers, small businesses, parks and gardens, how we commiserate in hard times, and how we try to keep our faith. Gentrification is much more than rising rents. It is truly the destruction of culture. I've been helping gather community input for New York City's cultural plan, the first comprehensive plan for how the city will support arts and culture going forward, and here's my personal recommendation. Our new cultural plan must not only envision the future, but acknowledge the past. It must address a history of bias, of privileging some cultural expressions over others. It will not succeed, and we cannot claim to be a sanctuary city if we continue to sit by and watch the cultural destruction of our neighborhoods. I call upon the City of New York to make reparation for the sale of Charas. And I call upon the city to renounce Rudy Giuliani's revengeful act against the cultural center of resistance. And I call upon Mayor de Blasio to act out of love this Valentine's Day, to assign his best lawyers, allocate capital funds, and with us, negotiate with Greg Singer, find the deal he can't refuse, to purchase and restore Charas to the Lower East Side community.
You know, Carlita and I are part of a larger group that's been around these struggles. It's Coalition for District Attorney, CODA. And we've been lucky enough to have not only leaders like Rosie, Margarita, and others, but we also have our state committee person, Michael Farron. I'd like Michael to come down.
I was very happy to hear our mayor declare us a sanctuary city, to declare his determination to make New York a bastion against this administration and the crony capitalism and the kleptocracy it represents. It's certainly telling that Rudy Giuliani was among his gang of thieves, even though he found out how little honor there truly is among thieves, as he goes without a major job. But he gave us a taste 18 years ago of the kleptocracy we're going to see on a larger scale if we don't all keep fighting very hard. And let's hope it's not the 18 years we've spent fighting for this building. So I think it's very appropriate that our mayor undo that act of kleptocracy 18 years ago to show what New York City really stands for.
So, you know, we've talked about that community centers are not just for seniors, not just for kids, not just for families. They can offer enormous variety around economics, educational, social, emotional, recreational activities that are actually tailored for the needs of our community and the interests of our community. But Singer has never proposed nothing that is tailored for this community.
That's right.
And I had to go what Michael said. For me, Sanctuary City is more than that. We have to have every place we have in this city a safe space. And I could imagine if we had Charas, that would be a center in the Lower East Side, perhaps in the city, when we come together and ensure that the policies from Trump and his cronies do not completely hurt us. We fight back. And I can see a center like that coming all together. That's what Charas was. We had discussions about struggles in our community. And we came together and we, from there, pulled into the larger part of the community and embraced our neighbors, embraced new and old. And so that is that collectiveness that we have. That's why we are here. And so we have to say, not only to Mayor Giuliani, but anyone that we can have this conversation with, is give us back our center. Let's take it back. 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 Take it back.
I want to thank everybody here. It is your persistence, it is your vigilance that will keep us strong. I know that we will get that meeting with the mayor. I'm sure he's heard us now. That is my LES right there. I want to thank all of the organizations that are here all of the allies, all of the activists and the advocates that have worked on this issue for decades. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank all the staff, the hardworking staff that put this press conference together, the people who are always behind the scenes and behind the camera. Thank you so much, everybody. This is not it. We will continue fighting and make sure that that building serves our families and our children and supports our programs and our open spaces in our schools. Thank you so much, everybody.